Hey, Bill, thanks so much for making time today.
Yeah, great to be with you, David.
Cool. So I want to talk to you a little bit about your career and your unique journey and your path and some of the decisions and motivations behind it. So tell me a little bit about what you're currently doing.
Yeah, I'm a Focal Point business and executive coach. It's a franchise that I purchased in April of last year, and I'm really excited to use my years of coaching and mentoring others in the workplace in a different venue now, working with C-level executives and business owners.
So what got you into that? I mean, that's mid-COVID, right? That you said, hey, it's time for a change.
Yep. Well, my financial situation changed, and I was able to explore different options than I had been able to do before. I used to be in a director of corporate financial planning and analysis, and I just decided it was time to look at something new and maybe still use the skills and abilities that I developed over a 40-year career in a different way. And so I had known this franchise broker for a long time, and he gave a presentation in February of 2021, and I said, hey, this is something I should look at again, because I've thought about it before, but now I had an opportunity to do it. And I explored 3 franchises and picked this one. And I think it's a great company with a great set of values and that align well with mine. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for me.
Awesome. What do you enjoy most about the consulting work that you're currently doing?
Well, again, it's not consulting, it's
Oh, I'm sorry.
coaching. A
Coaching.
little,
Sorry.
little different, yeah. Consultants come in with and do an analysis and provide a recommendation. Coaches are more like an accountability partner, and so we work with our clients and help them remove obstacles to their ideal future. So.
Okay, cool. What do you enjoy most about coaching people, and how do you find the right people to coach?
Well, I certainly enjoy meeting all different kinds of people and from different backgrounds when overcoming different challenges. And so I think that's what keeps it fresh and new. And I find people, my target audience is folks that will understand my background, which is strategic planning and financial metrics and developing leadership teams. And so folks that are interested in doing that are more likely to pick me up as a coach if they're willing to work with a coach to see results faster than they could see on their own.
Cool. So I'm going to take you way back to the beginning, and I'm going to talk about college now. So when you were in college, you were thinking, one day I want to be an executive coach.
No, I had never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I never thought I would own my own business. I
Right.
mean, even if you'd asked me even that 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said, no, that's not me. When I was in college, I was very much into math and science and
What'd you study?
I studied chemical engineering at Virginia Tech, and my dad was a chemical engineer, but it wasn't really why I went into chemical engineering. It was more because it was a lot of math, and I had friends that were going to Virginia Tech that were studying electrical engineering, and I said, okay, well, I can do chemical, and I can go with them. So I did that, and I always knew that I didn't want to stay in engineering even from the beginning. I wanted to get more into business, but I thought, well, my dad said, oh, putting together math and science and an engineering degree with a business degree would be a great combination for the future. So I decided to keep always have business school in mind when I was even in an undergraduate. And I enjoyed chemical engineering. I mean, I went to work for Procter & Gamble in Ohio, and I worked for the international division of Procter & Gamble for Latin America, and I helped to develop a detergent for front-loading automatic washing machines for Mexico, Venezuela, and Peru. So it was a good first job, but then the economy in Mexico changed, wiped out our department, and so I explored moving into aerospace and defense. That's where I started with a company in Virginia called Brunswick. They make bowling balls, but they also make and pool tables, but they also made radomes for military aircraft and shelters at the plant that I was at. And so I learned how to live in a small town of 2 main streets, 4 police cars, and 7 traffic lights. And yeah, I got there about 60 years too early. It was a great place to retire, but I don't think it was great for a 20-something. And so that's when I went back to business school.
Oh, nice. Did you went to Wharton for your MBA?
Yeah, I got my MBA at Wharton in finance, and had 7 opportunities coming out of business school, and picked the one in Southern California that had a senior management mentor program. So I had access to senior management, and I had 9 different assignments in the first 2 years, culminating in the I became the controller for an engineering lab of 260 engineers and had a staff of 10 people. So it was a great run for about 4 years. And then I moved into program management and got my senior management mentor to get me a 2-level promotion and move me to a different location just in time because they decided to close the location I was at. And so I ended up extending my career by 4 years at Hughes Aircraft Company by accepting the 2-level promotion from my senior management mentor and moving into product support. So that was, I did business development, and that's where I started to get more into the financial analysis and business development contracts and future new business.
Hmm. How much? So, I mean, that's a massive change from a few years earlier, right? We're chemical engineer and all that. How much of that would you attribute to having the pedigree of Wharton MBA versus you became passionate about and you learned all these great skills? You know, talk to me a little bit about that transition from, hey, I'm a chemical engineer and I'm doing, you know, various defense types of work, and now you're in this totally new career.
Well, I mean, even going into business school, I knew that I was going to come out and I wasn't going to be an investment banker or a management consultant. I knew I was going to use the skills that I learned in business school to go back to a company and apply them in a in a context where I was using both my engineering and my business skills. So because I wanted to learn to understand the profit and loss statement. When I worked at Brunswick, I didn't understand why we had a starting balance and an ending balance on certain things, and it didn't make sense to me. And so that's where I went back to business school to learn what a P&L was like. And so yes, did the Wharton pedigree help? I think it did. I think it opened some doors in getting some great assignments. Certainly it helped getting the first job out of MBA school, getting the access to senior management mentor, because they were looking to build up their leadership cadre from outside and from within. And so it did help to get that job. I worked with 25 other MBAs from 5 different schools over a period of 5 years, and I learned a lot from them, and they learned from me. And I was the last one to leave the company because I kept getting great assignments. So
That's very cool. So then after that, what did you do next?
well, after Hughes, I closed 2 facilities for Hughes, in one in Irvine and one in Long Beach, and we moved folks to Virginia and to Chula Vista. And so then I had to find something new. I worked for a small fluid control manufacturer as the finance department. I did 170 finance reports a month, so it was
Wow.
a big change from a big company environment to a small company environment. But it was really fun to work directly with the senior executives. I worked directly with the president and the vice president of sales and the international controller from Switzerland. He developed a lot of Excel macros and things. And so I learned a lot about, from a world-class Excel expert. And so I became an expert in Excel and used that to build some of the automated systems that we used there. And then the tragic events of September 11, 2001 eliminated half of our company, and my position was eliminated along with half the company. And so then I moved on from there to after a period of transition to work for Toyota Material Handling and the Forklift Company. I'd always worked in strategic planning, and so I became the National Strategic and Financial Planning Manager, helped to put together the first 3-year strategic plan for Toyota Material Handling, the Forklift Company, when it was headquartered in Irvine, helped them to achieve #1 in their market in the US and North America when it was implemented. So great experience. Got a chance to go to the factory in Indiana, which is not far from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We got a chance to go to the Indy 500 as one of our trips when I was there, and so that was exciting, and enjoyed working for them and for putting together. I worked with an outside advertising agency, and I hired a consultant, and so it was a fun opportunity, but still a chance to use strategic planning because I had done some strategic planning in between my first and second year at MBA school, and then some strategic planning and cultural change things at Hughes. And so strategic planning has always been a strong part of my background through my working experiences.
What are the challenges with being responsible for an organization's strategic plan?
Well, I think it's always challenging to work with all of the senior executives, many who have different agendas and different priorities. And we were working with a team from Japan because they were also involved in the process. And so it was multicultural and very challenging to incorporate all of those different viewpoints and still understand the undercurrent of politics and some of the other more challenging aspects of putting together the plan.
Now, how about take a half step back? You mentioned there was a brief period after 9/11 and all that you were looking for a position. What did you learn in terms of networking or finding a new job, or what insights can you share looking back?
Well, I'm like the expert in career transitions, since I've gone through several transitions in my career, and I've really learned the value of networking in terms of when I first came out of Hughes Aircraft in 1998, I'm like, oh, it'll be I can send out 6 letters and I'll have 6 job offers and it'll take me no time at all, and I don't have to do this networking stuff because I was working with Lee Hecht Harrison, an outplacement firm at the time, and she goes, okay, yeah, we'll see if you can do it your way. And of course, I learned that it was not going to be easy, and that there was competition, and that maybe just applying wasn't the best way in to get an interview. And so I learned how to build rapport with other people and build trust and help them along my way to getting opportunities presented to me. So I think the value of networking really comes in building relationships and in helping other people first. If you ask the other people if you help them first, they're much more willing to help you in return. And so I think that's what I learned, and it certainly has benefited me along the way. I've been able to help a number of people through networking and helping them land their new role. So
yeah, preaching to the choir on that one. So it didn't come naturally for you. It's something that you had to figure out and master ultimately, right?
Absolutely. It's a skill like any other skill, and it takes practice, and it takes doing it wrong a few times to know, oh, gee, that's not the best way to do it, or I didn't say that quite the way I needed to say it, or I didn't approach that the right way, or I forgot to do what I promised that person. So you learn to keep your commitments, and making the introductions that you promise folks along the way is always important to achieving success and building your reputation as somebody who people can depend on. So when I go to somebody in my network and I ask for an introduction, they go, oh yeah, you helped me, I'll be happy to help you. So.
Yeah, it's amazing that they don't teach that skill in elementary school, middle school, high school, even.
Well, I think they're starting to do that, at least in a number of places. I think Wharton is a place where they're seeing the value of networking early, and I think that's becoming more prevalent. Of course, I mean, Wharton even uses coaches. If you're in the second year program, you have a coach that you have access to. So I think they're starting to understand the value of networking, coaching, and things like that.
So as you look at your career, and then we didn't finish, right? That was we left off. Toyota was what?
Toyota, no, that's not that. We haven't finished. That's 2003. So I mean, okay. I can go on from there.
Yeah, just curious.
Yeah, I went back to Raytheon for a second tour after a number of interviewing experiences, and landed a role at Raytheon. Raytheon had taken over Hughes at the end of my first tour, so I've been with Raytheon before, and I rejoined them after. And I spent 11 years the first time and 5.5 years the second time. I came back as the leader of the finance organization in one of their 5 mission areas or divisions. It was a very large division when I joined, and then 3 months after I joined, they reorganized and we became one of the smallest startup divisions. And I used to have a team of 5 and to do all the deliverables. And then they said, okay, it's like Moses in Egypt. Now you're going to make bricks without straw. You have to do all the same deliverables, but you only get to have 2 people. And I go, well, yes, there's not as many zeros at the end of all my numbers now, but I still have to do all those deliverables that you asked me to do. So, but anyway, I learned how to manage people and then they said, we're going to move your group to Texas. So I had to manage long distance. So I was doing teleconferences and things on over the phone long before Zoom. So doing things in multiple locations with people in the UK and people in Texas. And so that was a great experience. I enjoyed working, coming back. And then of course they spent a number of years going through transitions and downsizing, and my position was eliminated again at the end of the 5.5-year period. But and then it took a little bit of time to land a position. I ended up at L3, which was a aerospace and defense company, which was going to be merging with Harris Communications. And so I got there 3 months before the merger, and I stayed on 3 months after the merger.
When we were at L3?
2019.
19. Oh, okay.
So just before the pandemic. So I was there in most of 2019, and I was the finance lead for the entire division, and had business management and financial planning and analysis folks reporting to me, and we did all of the annual operating plan, strategic plan, plus income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and all the monthly program finance things were under my responsibility. So
nice.
Great chance to work with the senior executives and leaders, as I did through much of my career. I was always working with the president of the division, or the division manager, or the president of the company. So a lot of exposure to senior management, and some very big companies. Of course, I worked for the largest company in the world, General Motors, owned Hughes Aircraft at the time. We had 879,000 employees. So
wow.
I've worked for the largest company in the world, as well as other Fortune 50 and Fortune 500 companies. So.
Oh, nice. So that brings us up to your current coaching.
Yes. Well, I had a small consulting job in between there, but I decided that I wanted to move into something new and use my skills in working with senior executives to help them remove obstacles and solve problems in this new coaching paradigm. And it's been a great journey. I'm still learning a lot, and still building my practice. So looking forward to it's a 7-year commitment, so it's not something I took on lightly, and getting to go to my first in-person annual conference that's coming up the first week of April, and I get a chance to actually meet some of the people that I've only seen on Zoom. So
right. See how tall they really are, right?
That's right.
And then what's the future hold for you? So next few years is coaching, and then.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to building a practice, and I can do one-on-one coaching. I can do one-to-many coaching. I can do training. I can deliver assessments like DISC and Prioritize Leader and 360, and some other things, workshops, and just using all of the skills along with the intellectual property, which I have the right to use from purchasing the franchise, to help other middle market companies in the $10 to $250 million annual range that are manufacturing engineering companies that want to improve or develop a strategic plan. They want to improve financial metrics like sales, operating profit, and cash flow, or they want to build or develop their leadership team. I think I have some things to offer in that regard, and be looking forward to having some successful engagements over the next period of time, and then having something to sell at the end. I mean, the whole goal of setting up the corporate executive coaching practices to establish relationships with companies that I can then sell to someone else who will carry on the business after I'm ready to retire.
Oh, that's awesome. Bill, thank you so much for sharing. It sounds like it's an amazing journey, and I wish you just continued success along the path. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on today.